Let's throw our hands in the air as we soar through the sky.
Yatta!
We'll catch the sun with your hand in mine, and if we work as a team, everything will be fine.
Yeah!
Oh, it's Cure of the What Now?
Let's henshin and start the show.
Hello, fellow aspiring models of Alzora City, and welcome to Cure of the What Now, the only show where we know makeup artists are the real stars.
That's right. Sango's getting ripped from carrying the team. What a great support unit she is.
Fantastic. My name is Kat, and I am your host as always, and today I am a suspicious-looking sea creature.
Oh.
I'm just saying, it didn't look right, that sea cucumber.
Absolutely. I'm Joel, co-host of the show, and also I'm the person that you most want to see. If you're into romance, it's your crush. If you're not into romance, maybe it's like a celebrity that you've always wanted to meet, but I've run into you in your dream, but now I'm running away.
Oh no, come
Also,
on.
you're in a dress that you wouldn't normally wear. If you normally wear dresses, you're in overalls.
I feel like we should have like a country music twang play there.
Okay.
I don't know if you can do that. You're not a man who oddly wants to play baseball despite being a villain.
I'm a monster who insists that I swear I can strike this one out, coach. Just let me do the final throw. I'm that as well. That's my true form, right? You think I'm your crush and or celebrity you've always wanted to meet, but then I transform into a baseball machine.
I am super excited to talk about the episode of Fresh we're referencing. But first, we must do announcements, discussion question. I don't think there's any announcements, so discussion question it is.
Absolutely, and this time, you've come up with one.
Absolutely, I do in fact have one. Now, if you are a longtime listener, you know that our most favorite speculative fiction author is
Ichiro Oda.
Brandon Sanderson.
Yes.
Author of such works as Mistborn and Roshar, the Stormlight Archive, which is archive, not archives. Somebody on Tumblr was very mean to me about that once.
Wow. Okay,
Just want to throw that out there.
I don't understand why they would get so particular about that.
Because people are like that.
Okay, that's fair.
The point is, Brandon Sanderson is known for his very specific way of creating magic systems and world building around those magic systems. And when we were watching this week's episode of Tropical Rouge, I got to thinking, the PreCure transformation is in of itself a magic system that has to do with your identity. So, please pitch me a PreCure season written by Brandon Sanderson.
Yes. So very quickly, this isn't a Brandon Sanderson episode, but Brandon Sanderson considers there to be two different types of magic in fantasy stories. There is soft magic and there is hard magic. Soft magic is like a wizard can wave a wand and anything could happen. And hard magic is like a wizard has exactly 15 MP and this spell costs 6 MP, so he can cast it twice before he's going to have to eat a Nutri-Grain bar to regain his lost mana or something like that. And Sanderson is really, really, really anal retentive about his magic system, in my opinion, to the point where I'm pretty sure he has like a tally of like how much energy each character has.
Some of the series are better about it than others. If you're sensitive to that sort of thing, don't read Warbreaker. There are literal numbers.
But Warbreaker is the best one! Okay.
Wrong! Mistborn! The point
is, we need to come up with a hard magic system that it can explain what the villains want and what the heroes want and what's going on. So here's what I'm thinking. Humans can generate a natural amount of quote-unquote pure energy that has no charge. It's general energy. But as they grow up, and as they decide on what their goals and aspirations are, when they realize that they want a Tropica Shine, or when they find that special thing that they Daisuke from, Kira, basically, once they start thinking in a certain way, that energy transforms into positive energy. But if they're kind of always down on themselves and they don't believe that they can do it and there's no hope for them, it turns into negative energy. And the PreCure are a group of people that are trying to protect the world from monsters not of this world that feed off of negative energy. So they basically try to go up to people who are kind of like in the middle and try to push them into thinking more negatively so they'll create negative energy. The bad guys absorb that and they need it to build some super spectacular machine. And the heroes have an abundance of positive energy. Like normal humans can get up to like 2 positive energy, but the PreCure are people who can go to like 20 energy, and they use that energy to transform, but depending on their own mental state, the amount of energy that they have is in flux. So in a moment of desperation, or a moment where maybe Ichika thinks that Gelato is going to leave the group and she's sad about it, she doesn't have as much energy, and so her transform state isn't as powerful.
Okay, I like that a lot. One of the things I like about Brandon Sanderson's magic systems is they're pretty consistently something in, something out machines.
Yes.
For example, in Mistborn, eat the metal, do stuff.
Yes.
When you burn up the metal. So do the PreCure have to ingest anything in order to use their transformations? Do they absorb the positive energy of others?
So peek behind the curtain. You had proposed this discussion question a few days ago, and I've been thinking about it off and on, and I was thinking that the bad guys actually have a limited number of items. So in the case of the Witch of Delays, it's those orbs. So she would literally only have 30. That's all of the excess negative energy she has, and that's what she uses to try to plant the seed of more negative energy. I think the PreCures are just natural generators of their own energy, so like, the more Ichika bakes, the more she creates within herself. And the more music Gelato Aoi creates, the more she generates inside of herself. That's what makes the PreCure special. They're basically generators of excess positive energy.
Okay. I like the idea that you have to really commit yourself to an identity with a capital I in order to produce significant amounts of energy. And so you could have your pink cure be someone who has dedicated herself to an ideal, but she doesn't necessarily know who she is yet. And so there's her mid-season power-up when she figures out, like, this is what I want to be!
Absolutely. The other thing, too, when you ask the question, like, do they have to absorb positive energy from like, regular citizens? I think that might be the climax of the season. I think that they might run out of their own excess positive energy, but all the people they've helped throughout the series are like, here, have a little bit of our energy, and it's sort of like a spirit bomb, and it gives them their temporary transform state.
Okay, I like that a lot. And that has been your discussion question. Nice.
But wait, I have a kind of second discussion question, and I apologize that I'm talking so much. Catherine was just very excited to hear my ideas on writing, and this one is about a game that Catherine doesn't play that much. I have recently gotten back into Minecraft with the 1.18 update, and
That's blocks.
Yes, it is blocks. And I was thinking, what kind of a structure would I build in Minecraft to represent each member of the Tropical Club? So I'm just going to kind of go through this kind of speedy style. Manatsu's is a half-finished building. It is made of all different kinds of colors of wool, and there's no design to it whatsoever. It's just this weird monstrosity because she gets halfway through a project and then decides to work on something else, and then she never comes back to it. So there's like half-finished rooms and stuff like that. But I do think that she has a room for each of the other girls that looks like a miniature version of their layouts of their bases, because she wants them to feel welcome in her camp. Sango is all about beauty, so I think that she has a bunch of flowers outside of her base. She might be using the new amethyst blocks as decoration. You can also get coral, which I couldn't figure out if Laura or Sango would be more likely to use it, but Sango literally becomes Cure Coral, so I think she has a bit of that. And also, she's very attached to her animals. She has cats and dogs and sheep, and she's named each one of them, and they are never used for food, and that's it. She only has as many as she can hold in her heart. Now, what do we do for Asuka? Asuka is going to have a big, impressive castle, and there's going to be, like, a nether portal right in the middle of it, and there's going to be a chest with, like, different types of armor and stuff, and you're like, oh, Asuka's like a hardcore player. But actually, there's a secret door that leads you into a more brightly colored and pink-themed room that she's decorated to be all of her favorite things.
And it's got the bunnies.
Yeah, she has a pen of bunnies. She has a pen of the ducks. They're actually chickens, but they look like ducks, man. That's what I'm telling you. And she has just all of the dogs. She has like a pack of them.
So what you're saying is these Minecraft birds, they look like ducks.
Yeah.
Do they happen to quack like ducks?
No, they buck like chickens.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes the whole thing confusing, doesn't it?
It does. Who do I have left? Minori is a redstone master, so anything that can be automated is automated. She has a storage silo, and all it has is items that are perfectly sorted, and she has exactly one full chest of every resource in the game.
Can't you also collect books in Minecraft?
There's not different books, but you can create bookshelves as like an item, so I think that's what she uses as her decoration. She has hidden passageways. She has like a strip mine that has like color-coded signs that only she can remember the significance of, and she has the biggest base area, and she has like different buildings, and she has like a rail cart system that can take you around to all these different places. She's on the forums all the time, always trying to figure out the new ways to use observers and hoppers and all that stuff.
All right, I've got a Minecraft question for you.
Okay.
Is it possible to mine every block in the game?
No. I don't think so.
So, like, you can't go down forever until you reach a bottom.
There is a bottom level that you get to, and that's called bedrock, and you can't break bedrock. But if you were to pick a direction, and you wanted to just keep going north, and you were digging out, like, one block every block you went, you would never reach the end. It just keeps generating infinitely in the X and Y directions. Or X and Z directions, I think is what the game calls them.
Sneaky Hatsune Miku.
Yeah, absolutely. And Laura's would be underwater. She would have all of the new axolotls, as we've seen before. She'd have an aquarium with squid and glow squid and dolphins.
And glow dolphins.
I don't think there are glow dolphins.
You said squid and glow squid.
Yeah,
there's not dolphins and glow dolphins?
The only type that has a glow variant is the glow dolphin. And, yeah.
Bees, glow bees.
I think Globies is a discontinued toy from the 90s.
So, I don't know if Joel is actually going to leave this in, but I guess we'll find out. Peek behind the curtain. When I yelled, I remembered, it's because in a section that I'm also pretty sure Joel edited out, I said, didn't you have a discussion question this week? And he did, and I think we'll save it for next week, but it was, what alternative future job would each of the girls pick?
That's right. And this is all getting edited out. Or maybe I'll edit out the other two parts, but leave this part in, just for maximum confusion.
You might as well, right? just throw it out there. We watched episode 40 of Tropical Rouge.
We watched episode 39 of Tropical Rouge.
No, what?
Yeah, because it went on break 1 week. Yeah? Listen, I want to get Futari Wa out of the way, so while you might be tempted to suggest, what if we just took a break from Futari Wa, I'm of the opposite mind. I want to watch 5 episodes of Futari Wa just so that we can eat all of the broccoli and never have to eat healthy again.
That's fair. We do have like 2 more seasons of broccoli.
Oh my gosh. I've heard that the other seasons get better.
That's fair.
Anyways, episode 39, we got another Sango episode!
And of course, Pete the Triceratops is sitting here at the table as our valued third co-host, who is always here. Pete, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good, you know. I found a way to make some good money, you know, for my family, so I'm trying to support them or whatever. So, if anyone wants to buy some special packets of gummy worms that give you more energy, that boost brain activity,
Pete,
and
no, I'm sorry, you're gonna please,
what?
Sir.
No, it's not a magical remedy. It's just it really works, okay? But you need to keep taking them. That's the thing.
I'm concerned that you're selling our listeners drugs.
What? No, they're not drugs. They're not. It's medicine. It's like this wonderful medicine that they don't want you to know about. Okay, Pete, go sleep. Go sell some of your highly nutritious gummy worms on the internet. Thank you, buddy. Oh, you cannot silence me.
Oh, that went to a weird place. So we got another Sango episode.
We got another Sango episode. So in this episode, Sango wants to become a model. So she's applying to this agency, and there's like a 3-step process. First, you have to send in like a video essay about yourself, and then you have to go in for an in-person interview, and then there's a final round of interviews after they've narrowed the candidates to a smaller group of people. We get another cute moment with Manatsu. Last episode was like a 10 out of 10 on the shipping scale between Asuka and Shiratori. This episode's like an 8 on the shipping for Sango and Manatsu, in my opinion. They're just good friends, and it's awesome. Sango is told by the other girls that she should continue doing this model agency thing while they defeat the Yarane Da, but then she has an epiphany because she's wondering, does she really want to be a model or not? And she makes a request to basically drop out of the competition, and she shows up and she saves the day as Kira Coral. And it turns out she doesn't want to be a model herself. She wants to bring out cuteness in others, which I headcanon as her being like a makeup artist for like a play or a movie where she makes the people look their best for them being on camera.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that has been your succinct summary.
I liked your little song you did there.
Thank you. It matches with Cure of the what now?
We're trying all sorts of new things today, aren't we?
It's a PreCure experience!
Hey, I just want to say, as much as I love your creative spirit, if you change the melody to a song that I wrote, I'll kill you.
Oh no! Don't worry, my magic gummy bears or gummy worms will protect me.
You don't even know what they are.
They're giving me full energy.
I don't wanna threaten my husband on mic. Let me try again. I'll turn you into goo. Nope, that's no good either. Anyway.
Fun fact, there's an episode of Ben 10 where he turns his enemy into a creature called, I think it's just Gooey or something, and then he defeats him.
I thought you were going to say he makes him into his pet.
No.
That would be kind of like that Manatsu fan fiction I proposed a couple of weeks ago.
Stop bringing it up. You don't want the internet to remember.
Whatever. Everything's forever now. Google is always listening. Did you like this episode?
I loved this episode. How about you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I only have positive things to say. I really appreciated the Manatsu Sango friendship.
Yeah.
Like I didn't get shippy vibes from it necessarily the same way I do from like Manatsu and Laura, but it was nice. It was the I'm in your corner, buddy. I'm going to beat up anybody who says you can't do it.
Absolutely.
That's the kind of friend I try to be.
I know that everyone has their own taste, so please don't take my personal preferences to be an attack on you if you have a different favorite character. But like Sango has always resonated with me to some degree, even though she hasn't gotten a lot of focus. I know Minori is very popular within lots of groups of people, possibly because a lot of anime nerds are a little bit more withdrawn and like fantasy kind of like Minori. But this episode just blows every other episode we've had that are focused on any character out of the water. It was good. She took her hair down and she looked amazing. She was wearing her makeup and she looked amazing in that. She was helping other contestants, which is something I skipped from my succinct summary. And that's how she kind of realized what path she wanted to be on. As her character evolved, as her mental state changed, she unlocked a new power. How's that for a Sandersonian-style magic system?
Exactly. That's one of the reasons that I pitched that as a discussion question. I love that, like, she makes an X with 2 fingers. She gets 1 shield. She makes an X with all her fingers. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's exactly the right number of shields.
She's doing this is the church. No, that's not exactly the same hand motion, but it's something like that where she kind of clasps her hands and creates an individual shield for each of her team members.
Mm-hmm. And that was super awesome. I also loved her realization that, like, as much as she wants to push the bounds of her comfort zone and try new things, what she loves is being a support. So she's a support to her team, her PreCure team, and she wants to be a support to people out in the world. She wants to make them cute.
Absolutely. And I think from a certain point of view, it's almost like she wants to raise the general level of cuteness in the world. So, you know, if that means that this person needs help, she'll help them. If that means that she can look cuter today, she will. So, yeah, absolutely. Now, you had a scene that you particularly liked. Let me set it up for you so that you can deliver the punchline. So, Laura also wanted to be a model. She wanted to try her hand at it, but she was, too silly or, she doesn't know human customs, so she didn't put a return address on it or something like that. So it didn't get delivered, so she got disqualified. Because the episode wanted to focus on Sango, and if Laura was a participant, she probably also would have won or gotten to the finals. But also, she wanted to ask Sango for makeup tips, and couldn't because she had to stay behind for her remedial geography class because she's dumb.
She doesn't know mountains.
She doesn't understand mountains. So the scene is, the sun's setting, Manatsu's playing in the water, Sango's just kind of sitting primly on the sand, and Manatsu's just like, you have hundreds of good traits about you, and that's why I thought it was kind of shipping, because, like, friends don't usually list that many good things about each other, and Sango's like embarrassment was perfect. It was very like, oh, you're making me blush, please.
That's true. So you've set the stage pretty nicely. Joel, I want to tell you a story.
Absolutely.
Sango was sitting with Manatsu, looking over the beach. And Manatsu said, Sango, this beach represents your life. And they looked at the footprints where they had walked, and they saw there were 2 sets of footprints. But then Sango said, what about there, Manatsu, where there's only 1 set of footprints? And Manatsu said, Sango, that is where I carried you.
I love it. Do you think it makes more sense for Sango to be the one doing the carrying, considering the context of this episode?
It does, but Manatsu was supporting her emotionally on the beach
Manatsu
scene.
is the metaphorical Jesus in this case.
The point is, the camera zoomed in on the footprints on the beach, and I just couldn't stop laughing at the idea of the
one
beach
pair
thing.
I
I wonder if that's as common in other countries as it is here. Like, I worked in a school where they purposefully didn't have a lot of religious stuff, and they still had a poster of the 2 sets of footprints.
Or whatever.
Yeah. So it's kind of like embedded into our culture, kind of like Who Was Phone.
Absolutely, yeah. And with the internet, maybe those kinds of stories have moved along, but I bet you there's probably a version of that story in all sorts of cultures, but it might not always be the beach and footprints, you know? In Asian cultures, maybe it was like an animal that represented the companion or something like that. It seems like a lot of their folk tales involve, you know, like a talking tiger or whatever. So, but yeah, no, it's really good. I like applying that story to the Tropical Rouge girls.
Yes, also I'm amused at Manatsu as Jesus. Can you imagine the Bible if Jesus had Genki Girl energy?
Could you imagine Manatsu flipping tables because people weren't paying too much or whatever the story was?
Yeah. Sorry, I don't want to get religious on the podcast, but I was a Bible nerd briefly in high school.
Yeah, listeners, really, really, really quickly, and this has nothing to do with PreCure, but I was raised in an environment where I basically knew nothing about the Bible. I knew the story of Adam and Eve and Noah's flood, and that's basically it. And Catherine was raised in an environment where she knew many verses.
The funniest thing is that my parents aren't even religious, but I found the religious people, and I had like a very intense, I know all the things phase, which was fun when I got to college and had my rebellious argumentative phase because I knew all of the Bible verses.
Yes, absolutely.
Anyway, did you have any other favorite scenes, quotes, or moments that you wanted to talk about from this episode?
Sango T-posed for dominance. That was when she showed up to protect the other 4 girls right before she had her transformation. And also, she had a necklace with 3 hearts on it, which were the same hearts we saw on the balloons.
And on her skirt.
And on her skirt in the last Sango episode. So I think it's supposed to represent a brand within Aozora City, but I do want to point out this time of year, speculation is rampant about the next season of PreCure now that the new logo's been announced and the website is up. Oh, we should have said that in the announcements. I forgot about that. But some people thought that the balloons were a representation of the next season, and it turns out next season has the word party in its name, and it has confetti on the website, so maybe that was a connection. If the balloons are a hint to the next season, then the 3 hearts that are different colors might represent the 3 colors of the main girls.
And it was kind of like a pink or a light red and a blue and an orange.
I think so. I think one was like a lilac, and then one was a pink, but I don't remember what the third
You're
one
right.
was.
The one I was thinking of as blue was more purple.
Okay. And then the other thing that someone on Twitter pointed out today, I wish I had the tweet in front of me, but they noticed that for the last couple of seasons, the main cast before the Secret Ranger shows up has kind of alternated between 3 and 4. Maybe? And so that goes back to Hugtobe, because before that was Kira Kira where they had 5. But if that pattern continues, next year we'll have 3 Kiras before the Secret Ranger, which would support the theory of the 3 hearts. So the clues are out there. X-Files music. Boom.
No, don't.
Oh, okay.
It scares me.
Gravity Falls?
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
Twin Peaks? That's anime.
I don't know Twin Peaks is the thing.
No, me either. I feel like we should watch it at some point. Like, I think we would like it.
Oh, yeah, I think so, too.
But also, listeners, I am legit afraid of the X-Files music. When I was a kid, it gave me nightmares because my parents would watch it after I'd gone to bed, and as soon as the music started, I'd freak out. And as an adult, I was like, I'm an adult now. I'm not afraid of anything. I'm going to listen to the X-Files theme and see if it's as scary as I remember. And the first couple of notes played and I went, nope, turning that off.
Donkey Kong 64, which someday we will play as part of this podcast studio that we've kind of started up in our house. There's a level where you go into a temple and there's 5 doors for each of the 5 Kongs you can play as, and you get the golden banana, and then a voice goes, "Get out." And when I was a kid, that freaked me out. And whenever I've replayed that game, it still makes my heart beat just a little bit faster, even though I know it's a game and I know I'm safe. I'm not actually going to get shot.
Absolutely. The funniest thing about the X-Files thing is the one episode that my parents let me watch with them, I started to get really freaked out, and my mom went, "Don't be scared. It's not real. It's makeup. It's acting and stuff." And I went, it's not real. And I've been able to apply that to everything else in my adult life. So, like, I really like horror movies, and I liked them even more when I was younger. Now I lean more toward thrillers, but you don't like them at all. And every time I'm like, well, it's fun because it's not real, you're like, well, the scares are real.
Absolutely. Did you have anything else you wanted to point out for this episode?
I don't think so. I'm appreciative that you pointed out the delicious party connection.
Absolutely. I just want to do our due diligence. You know, I don't want to be someone who gets canceled because we forgot to bring up the delicious party PreCure
on this podcast.
Yes, absolutely. Futari Wa episode 40, I've already alluded to it. It is a sleepover episode where Nagisa spends the night at Honoka's house because Honoka's grandma is out visiting a friend and it's too far away to get back before nightfall. They have a couple of other girls over that kind of invited themselves over. Rude. But they leave before it's time for the sleeping over part, and then they fight the bad guys in their dream. And the episode ends with the 2 girls holding hands, laying in bed together, and there's no subtext there. It only took 40 episodes, but we finally got some subtext for Nagisa and Honoka. We've had some in other episodes, but this is like the first thing that like even a dumb 12-year-old me would have seen and been like, oh my gosh, because I wouldn't have picked up on the more subtle examples earlier in the season.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I also would have been like, those girls are holding hands. They're doing themselves a handhold in bed. That's not something that just friends do.
Absolutely. How did you feel about this episode?
It was cute.
Okay.
I wish they would have done more with the dream concept. I felt like it was a waste of the conceit of the episode.
I was thinking one of 2 things should have happened. One, it should have been a situation where Nagisa and Honoka are having separate dreams and they have to like overcome the thing that frightens them or the thing that stands in their way in order to try to help the other one, because that would be even more shipping vibes, you know? Honoka has to trudge through the mud monster because she knows Nagisa's on the other side. She hates getting dirty, but she'll do it for her partner. And then the other idea was, what if the other girls had slept over and they all got pulled into a weird nightmare dream thing, and maybe the girls could have transformed and then the other girls could have been like, "Are you too pretty, Kira?" And they'd be like, "No, that was just a dream. We were all having weird dreams last night. Must have been something in the salsa. I don't know what to tell you." I think those would have been more interesting ways to set up the episodes. Or if they had done a in media res episode where like it starts and everything's going weird and you don't know what's going on, you're like, what is this? And then it was revealed at the end that it was a dream.
Maybe this is because I watched too many teen comedies when I was the right age for that. But what if the bad guys had attacked and they'd been worried about like keeping the bad guys from wrecking the house so that her grandma wouldn't be mad?
Sure. Okay, yeah,
and that was their limitation. Like, they couldn't fight at full strength because they had to protect the house.
Okay, I see what you're saying. I failed to see how that related to the dreamscape, but you were just saying the setup and then take it in a completely different direction.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I like that.
But that's pretty much all my thoughts on that. I'm bored of the main trio of villains, but I really like the Zakena Butlers.
The Scandal Butlers are good, but also they were introduced randomly, and they're so incompetent, I'm surprised that, I think his name is like Belze or whatever, hasn't just like eaten them and produced 2 more competent monsters.
Right? Like, keep shitting monsters until you've got 2 that work.
Absolutely.
Maybe he can't. Maybe they have to be defeated by the PreCure in order to disappear.
Maybe, yeah, they don't have enough light. If they tried to destroy the Zakenna Butlers, they would only make them stronger and more powerful. One thing I did find interesting, I think it might have been last episode with Jura, not this episode with Belze, but someone said something along the lines of like, it is our purpose to destroy things. Yeah, it was during the wedding episode. Jura was like, I'm going to destroy happiness. All will crumble before me. I sometimes like the enemy that can't be reasoned with, like a force of darkness that just wants to destroy, but it seems so weird that these 3 villains are capable of human thought. And we've even seen with Kyria, who gets a mention in this episode, by the way, which makes me think he's going to come back in some capacity. But they seem to be capable of feeling. And so why would a creature capable of feeling want to destroy everything? They would get lonely. So I don't get it. I don't like it.
Maybe that is better than what currently exists. Maybe they already feel lonely, and so if they destroy everything, everything will be gone, but at least they'll have a reason to feel lonely.
Maybe they're uncomfortable in the light, like they get itchy and they start sweating and they overheat and stuff, and so maybe like the more darkness there is, the more comfortable they can live. So they have to...
Do not perceive me!
Absolutely. Now, before we move on to Fresh, as the executive producer of Cure of the What Now?
The only show where we know.
Would you like to promise to watch more than 1 episode for next week, or are we going to stick to 1 every episode till the end?
For Futari Wa?
Yes.
We're going to stick to 1. If we get really into it, we'll watch a couple of extra, but...
Okay. We don't want to overdose on broccoli.
Exactly. Unless we cover it in cheese sauce. What would be the cheese sauce of Futari
Fresh
Wa?
PreCure.
So, like, we sandwich the Fresh?
Yeah, we can't watch Fresh until we've watched an episode of Futari Wa. That's not cheese on the broccoli, that's the cookie for dessert. And we can increase the number of cookies by eating more broccoli.
And that is what principle?
Chekhov's gun?
Premack, also known as Grandma's Law. Chekhov's Law is a gun-based thing, I think.
Chekhov's gun is when you train your dog to use firearms and they drool every time it happens because dogs naturally crave violence.
They do, though. We share our house with a monster. Someone help.
They're trying to break in. We have to finish this episode before the door gets knocked down.
I don't know if all dogs do this, like all puppies, or if it's an Aussie thing specifically, but when she gets really excited, she snaps her jaws together like she's a crocodile or something, or an alligator, and so we call her our Aussie gator.
I know when she needs to go down for a nap because she'll start chewing on my beard. And she only does that when she's sleepy. But she doesn't communicate she's sleeping in any other way. But when you put her in the kennel, she'll just go to sleep immediately.
I love dogs.
Absolutely. We watched 2 episodes of Fresh PreCure this week. We watched episode 31, 32. 31, they come back from, I guess they're on break. And I think it's after summer break now. And Setsuna has enrolled at the school. Daisuke keeps trying to talk to Love, but Love is so excited to show Setsuna around, and Setsuna is so popular that he can't connect with her, till eventually he yells that he hates her and runs off. And Love remembers he has a game tomorrow, and she promised to come, but she seems to have forgotten, and what Daisuke wanted to ask her about was, do you remember that you wanted to come to my game? Then there's the baseball game, and Daisuke isn't playing very well because his crush got really mad at him. But then Love shows up and is all like, Daisuke, you can do it! And then he's all fired up.
She's more like, Daisuke, you're being a...
Yeah, Daisuke, if you can't manage to win this game, I won't ever give you a smooch. He's like, oh, I really want the smooch. So he starts playing better. And then Westar shows up, and there's a baseball-themed monster, and Daisuke is super concerned about trying to protect Love, and Peach saves the day along with her team. And then afterwards, Daisuke and Love go back to fighting, but it's more like play fighting because they're just on the same wavelength. But at one point, he mentioned something like, gosh, I prefer Peach to you anyways. And that's really funny on the irony level.
Absolutely. I adored this episode.
It was so good.
Daisuke is so cute. I usually don't care about the male love interests in these shows, but they've really done a good job of building him up as a person.
Yes, I think so too.
And I really like his kind of contentious relationship with Love, but he admires her spirit, and that's what he likes about her.
Absolutely. I can't remember, there was a tweet I saw earlier this week that said something about, like, this was the last season where they had heterosexual, like, pairings or whatever, which I disagree with because Go Princess leans pretty heavily into it, and I think the season they cited was, like, season 7 or 8 or something like that. But for the most part, after this point, they stopped shoehorning in love interests that generally have no personality, but in Daisuke's case are pretty cool. They're nice.
Absolutely, yeah. I also thought it was a very relatable conflict. We've talked before on the show about how one of PreCure's strengths is that it does speak to the audience it's supposed to. And so we've all had that moment where, like, there's a cool new kid at school and you're like, they suck, I hate them, I wish they would die. But it's just because you wish you were getting that attention.
Absolutely. And Setsuno looks adorable in her school outfit. And the girls, so normally Nakuwa Make shows up and the girls punch it really hard and defeat it. But this time around, they try to attack it and it doesn't work. And then eventually, I think it's Love, but one of them goes, I know how we're going to fix this problem. And they put on baseball outfits and they have to face this pitching machine monster in a game of baseball. And they each have to go up one in turn. When the bases are loaded and Setsuna's the last one to go up to bat, Westar is like, I should be the one to pitch because I'm a better pitcher. And the monster's like, it can't talk.
But it's like, ball.
It motions and basically is like, let me pitch. And Wesker's like, all right, I'm going to put my trust in you. And then Setsuna knocks out of the park and Wesker's just like, I shouldn't have trusted you. It was such a good episode.
I love Westar so much. Him as the coach for the underdog team.
Yes.
But he's the villain. He's perfect.
Westar needs to be redeemed. And if he isn't, he's going to show up in a fanfic of mine where after the end of the season, he just becomes a normal civilian and he's kind of a doof, but he's helping the community.
Absolutely. Now, episode 32 was notable because there were no villains in it.
Yeah.
The villain trio
That's right.
was not in
There was
it.
not a Nakawa Make in this episode. Tarte has to return to the Sweets Kingdom. He's been summoned by Elder, who in the grand tradition of PreCure doesn't have a name. He's just Elder. And Tarte is like, all right, I finished my task. We've found the PreCure, so I'm leaving forever. When he's sent back to the Sweets Kingdom, the girls come with him, and he's like, what the heck? And they're like, we don't want to say goodbye just yet. So he gives them a tour. They find out that Tarte is the prince of the Sweets Kingdom, something that Kat apparently knew from spoilers, but someone had kept that from me somehow. I never knew that piece of information. And then we also find out that there's a cute lady ferret from a neighboring kingdom that is his fiancée.
She is a pink squirrel, and she's adorable.
Yes, her name is Azukina. I can't guarantee I'm going to remember that next episode, but for now it's fresh in my memory, and I like her. She's
and it means
here.
red bean paste.
Yeah, we had to look that one up because everyone else in this series is named Tarte and Chiffon. So when you hear Azukina, you're like, what? Anyways, they also have to go into the forest. There's a dark spirit that's been released by Azukina because she wants Tarte to stay with her forever. And that's the thing that they have to defeat. Tarte ends up convincing her, like, hey, don't unleash evil spirits that could destroy the world.
There's a thing in the forest that he had to go get, and after that, she was worried he would go back to the human world, so she stopped him from going to the forest, and he's like, don't!
Yeah, and then she realized that she, shouldn't unleash a spirit that could kill her fiancé, and she ends up saving the day by unleashing a new item, and now the Fresh Girls have a magical doohickey that will help them in their later adventures. They're warned that the bad guys are getting stronger by the day, something for which we have no textual evidence to support, but basically Elder is like, all right, you're in the second half of the season. You guys are going to get a new powerful combo attack at the end of this.
Do you think they'll get new outfits, or do you think that was introduced later in the series' life?
I'm pretty sure that they had transformed outfits by like season 2 or 3, so I think that they probably will.
Gotcha. I guess you said 2 or 3. I was like, when in Futari Wa did they get the new outfits?
Yeah, I think in the second Futari Wa, they get a powered up form. And then I think even in Futari Wa 1, they have the I won't let you hurt my friends Popo rainbow beam that gives them the bracelets. But it wasn't the same as an exaggerated transformation where they get butterfly wings or wedding style dresses or something like that.
Absolutely.
How did you like this episode?
I liked it a lot. Mm-hmm. It was cute. I didn't like it as much as the baseball episode, which is kind of weird because you'd think the plotly relevant one would be more interesting. But Tarte as the Prince of the Kingdom is just delightful to me. I love that his parents, for some reason, were way on the other side of the throne room, so you couldn't see them, but you could hear them being like, "We're proud of you, son. Now go see the elder."
Yes, and I believe that they also spoke with the same kind of, I don't remember what it's called, I think it's the Kansai dialect, the one where it's a little bit more like how people on the street would talk rather than prim and proper society. I'm not very good at noticing those sorts of things unless the translator note says literally they comment on it, but I'm pretty sure that he's not an oddball. I'm pretty sure all of the royal family talks like that. My favorite part was when Tarte arrived and he doesn't know that the girls are there. And then the camera zooms out and they're standing right behind him and they're just like, whoa, this is the Sweets Kingdom? And Brian's like, wow, it's amazing. And Miki is like, oh, it's so perfect. I just love the way that these 4 are tourists and they're just so amazed by this land.
Well, and he did one of my favorite jokes where the person's like, I can still hear their voice.
We're right here, dumbass.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
I'm not dead yet. It's like he's in the room with us. I am.
Absolutely. Do you have a favorite scene other than the king and queen being very far away?
I liked when Buki was like, a pretty flower, and then it was a monster.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Because Tarte tells them that this forest is, amazing. You can hear, the songbird sing, and there's, beautiful blooming flowers, and there was a third thing. It was, the wind that carries, the warmth of the sun. And so when they show up, there's, a chill wind. He's like, the warmth that carries this, or the wind that carries the sun? And then, yeah, they see a flower that turns into a monster. And yeah, so that was this episode. You and I both thought that the spirit that was sealed away might have been the North character who we haven't met yet, because why haven't we seen them yet? And they're in the opening now, so they're going to show up one of these days, but I guess it was just a coincidence.
Yeah, TikTok PreCure. We don't have enough female representation in this show.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, that's pretty much all my thoughts on Fresh. Did we have any tweets in a bottle this week?
Yes. The only one that we got was, once again, from that one Wilder guy in the Discord. Sango really said, I'm so cute that others around me are cute by association.
That's great.
I love that. And to go back to the Sanderson thing, imagine she puts a single flower in her hair and she just doubles her cuteness energy output and she gets a new transformed state or something like that.
I love that. The way that James phrased it makes me think of Laura. That's Laura in a Sango suit.
Okay, yeah, I could totally see that. If Laura got famous as a model, if she had actually been able to turn in her video essay or whatever, and she'd gotten to the finals, would she just one day quit being a model when she decided she was going to become queen again? She'd go on TV and she'd be like, thanks for supporting me, everyone. I am the most beautiful, but I have to return to the sea now. Bye! And they're just confused.
Yeah, not to be too dark, but the idol and model kind of
world
industry in Japan burns people out pretty quick and then they retire. Or no, they call it graduating. They graduate, but it basically means we're not cute enough to model anymore, or you bullied us to the point where our brains broke, so we're leaving.
At the same time, this is PreCure, where dreams are rainbows and sparkles, and Laura has an unbeatable attitude. So I think, and also, as far as we know, mermaids don't age. It seems like the queen is pretty young and glamorous type of a thing. Maybe she's an eldritch abomination that has lived for millions of years, or maybe she's only, 30 or something.
Gosh, can you imagine if Manatsu started calling the queen Choro?
Yeah, I think that would fit. I think that would fit quite well. Now, he also had a second thought, which I think leads nicely into future speculation. James is excited because the next episode appears to be a Minori-centric one. And when I say appears to be, I mean, if it isn't, that's some really false advertising. Because the episode title is Spin the Tale, Minori's New Story. Now let me quickly ask a question before we speculate about this Minori episode. Last episode was about Asuka graduating. This episode is about Sango finding her career choice. Next episode appears to be about Minori once again taking up the quill. Did the episodes where they got their memories back, did that count as a Laura and or Manatsu episode, or was that a group episode, and after we get Minori, we'll have two more, one for Manatsu and one for Laura?
Those were group episodes.
Okay.
So I think we'll do Laura and then Manatsu, and I wonder if Manatsu will have... I keep waiting for this show to have a despair moment.
Yep.
Because they always do, but I'm wondering if Manatsu's will be... My friends all have a path, but I can't dedicate myself to one. But Sango pointed out in this week's episode, you know, Asuka's doing this and Minori's doing this, and you are doing what's important to you right now. And like that didn't seem to bother Manatsu, so I can't see that being where it goes for her.
Yes, it would. The only way I could see it going that way for Manatsu is if the butler, or, I mean, let's be real, probably the butler would be the one evil enough to do it. But if they like planted the seeds of doubt, like if Manatsu had a bad dream that the other four were leaving because they had to go chase their career somewhere else and she was all alone, that could rattle her confidence. I could see that being a thing, but then she's reassured that no, they'll always be friends even if life takes them in different directions.
Oh yes, my favorite thing that PreCure does.
Yuck. But anyways, back to the Minori episode. Spin the Tale, Minori's New Story. Is it just more fruit mermaid fanfic, do you think? Or do you think it's going to be something new?
I don't think it's going to be writing at all.
Oh.
I think spin is a hint. I think Minori is becoming a DJ.
Oh.
And this is the new story of her in her new DJ life.
Zippin', 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 zip, papaya in the house! Everyone raise your orders to the air!
You're beautiful. You're beautiful.
But, okay, I don't... This is a really, really, really silly thought. But tis the season after all. When you said spin, and you're like, Minori's going to, I just thought, convert to Judaism? That's the dreidel that she's spinning, and that's the new story, is the story of
I mean, Meppel has become Jewish, so I think... If she wants to, Papaya can become Jewish.
Now, Meppel becoming Jewish is a specific username on Twitter that we've seen that we really enjoy. Or a display name, I guess, is technically. But anyways, I do have one more question. So in this episode, Sango got, like, a cool new shield thing. And supposedly Asuka's smash got, like, a brief flash of a swan. Although when I rewatched the episode, I couldn't see it. But... will Papaya's powers also evolve as she comes out of her shell in some way?
Yes. Papaya will ascend like the angels of yore, and she will have eyes all over her body that become lasers. Be not afraid! I come not to bring peace, but a papaya.
While Soldier Boy plays in the background and everything becomes strobe lights. No. I think you have a good idea, but I think maybe they're going to go in a different direction. I think she's going to get papaya bombs, you know? You take the papaya, you bite off the end, you throw it, you chuck it, it explodes.
I love
Fruity
that.
flavor goes everywhere. Taste the rainbow. And that has been your
Boop-a-da-doop-boop.
final thought. Outro goes here. Thanks for listening, everyone, and don't forget to buy some papayas for next episode.
Don't you mean some gummy worms? Get out of here, Pete! What a shining episode of Cure of the What Now? Thanks for being our Nakama.
Thank you as always for your support. If you could, very kindly, be sure to like or share this with any of your friends. Let them know that we're always open to suggestions or thoughts about any particular episode.
And please take a moment to rate and review us on wherever you get our podcast from. Except for YouTube. You can't rate and review us on YouTube, but you can like and subscribe.
Absolutely. If you like what we're doing, even just a comment that says keep up the great work is always helpful for brightening our day.
Absolutely. Joel, where can our fine listeners find you if they want more of you?
Absolutely. The best way to get in touch with us is to go onto Twitter and find us at KOTWN_pod. That's where we're most active. But of course, we also have a Gmail. That's kingofthewhatpod@gmail.com.
You can also find me at Pirate Ghost Host.
She is much more prolific than I am, but not all of her content is necessarily about the podcast, whereas the other one tries to focus more on the show.
You like our sticker sheets? Joel's got sticker sheets for you. And that has been your Tropica outro.
Do-do-do-do. You'll be dancing with me today.